Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening. I have recently came across this article, and I've come across some other articles that are really surprisingly very scary. And the reason I'm saying this is because I don't know, I had purchased this book, I think maybe 2, 3 months ago, and I had already heard about the book, and I had already heard about the author um, writing this book about. Um, Well, I'll tell you the title of the book. It's a New York Times bestseller, and the title of the book is called The New Jim Crow. And it's talking about mass incarceration in the age of colorblindness. And it's by Michelle Alexander. And it's got a new foreword by Cornell West. And so, what's really surprisingly scary is that I'm going to read this article. This just happened. And we already know that a young man was killed in Georgia, and that was crazy. And they're still investigating that situation. And the more they investigate it, the more information comes out, the more crazier the story becomes. And this right here has a lot to do with some of the things that I've read in the book that I'm currently reading right now. So I'm gonna enough further ado. I'm gonna go into this article, but it says sleeping while black. Family seeks justice for Breonna Taylor, who was killed in her bedroom by the police. And this is by a Marquise Francis out of National Reporter and Producer out of Yahoo News, and this is recent. This was posted on the 13th, so this is a real recent article. So there's a video attached to it. Family of Breonna Taylor holds a vigil in Louisville, Kentucky. And so Breonna Taylor was 26 years old. She was an EMT worker in Louisville, Kentucky. She was shot in her bedroom at midnight on March 13th by 3 police officers serving a no-knock warrant. And my book that I'm reading, The New Jim Crow, talks a lot about those no-knock warrants. Okay, so digressing back to this article, the no-knock warrant becoming another statistic in a long list of African Americans killed at the hands of police. What makes the case unusual is that Taylor was a woman. And a lot of times we hear about the black males that are getting gunned down, but hey, they have no discretion when it comes to the gender. So we have black females that are getting killed as well. And so we don't hear enough outcry for the black females that are being killed at the hands of police. Um, so, and there have been some killings, some real controversial incidences that have happened in the past that involve police killings of black females. So the incident is still being investigated, and Taylor's family is suing Louisville Metro Police Department officers Mile Cosgrove, excuse me for the names if I'm not pronouncing them correctly, and Brett Hankinson, and Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, alleging wrongful death, excessive force, and gross negligence, according to the suit. And so the police fired more than 20 rounds in the apartment. Taylor was hit 8 times and pronounced dead at the scene. The police officers were looking for a drug suspect who lived 10 miles away and was already in police custody, according to the Courier-Journal. What's crazy, I'm going to stop for a moment about this article. It's almost like I'm reading my book. And some of the things that I've read in the book talk about other incidences from the past, way before this incident happened to this young lady, that were very similar. Same thing, African American people, no-knock warrants, people being killed for no reason apparent. But they were looking for a suspect, and it was a botched search thing that they were doing. And so it turns out that the people end up getting gunned down, or they end up somehow, having a heart attack, or they end up busting down people's doors and knocking out windows and pointing guns at heads of children and old people. And it turns up that those are not the people that they're even supposed to be in there looking for. So going back to the article, police said that the suspect had used the address where Taylor lived with her boyfriend Kenneth Walker to receive packages in the mail, so no drugs were found in the apartment, and neither Taylor nor Walker has an arrest record. I've seen a lot of that too as well. Been reading about a lot of that where there are people that get killed simply because they look like somebody, or there was some kind of botched search warrant or whatever, or search in progress, and it turns up the people that they're searching or that wind up getting killed have no priors. So the warrant contained a no-knock provision which allows police to enter a home without identifying themselves. Have you heard of that? If you hadn't, you better read about it, because that exists. So apparently, officers said that they knocked on the door several times and announced their presence as the police who were there with a search warrant. But when no one came to the door, the police forced their way in and were immediately met by a gunfire. Lieutenant Ted Edem said March 13 press conference. So the officer was shot and wounded in the leg. And so the shot was fired by Walker, who accordingly to his lawyer was licensed to have a firearm and fired in self-defense, believing the intruders were burglars. So Walker has been charged with first-degree assault and attempted murder of a police officer. Even though he was in his home and they, busted in. So the department has declined to answer questions on the case, citing that an ongoing investigation, so no body camera footage is available. That's the scary thing right there. Having video of this, and then they sit on this for a while, and then when you see the video, it just, it gives them time, if there is any video footage. A lot of times what happens, it gives them time to cooperate, try to figure out a story, or come to some kind of story to make it seem more in the favor of the officers. But we'll see how this turns out. So this is saying here that there was no body camera footage at all. So it is that's available from the incident, since officers in the criminal interdiction division who conducted the search warrant do not wear cameras. So that makes it harder. There was no evidence to show what had all went on, so we can't see it on camera. And then that also raises a red flag. Why didn't you have body cameras? So LMPD Chief Steve Conrad said that none of the officers involved have been charged in connection with the shooting. And so this is the young lady that was killed in Louisville, Kentucky. Her name was Breonna Taylor, and she was a qualified EMT. So Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, filed a lawsuit in April in Jefferson Circuit Court. Breonna had posed no threat to the officers and did nothing to deserve to die at their hands. And so the lawsuit reads this: so shots were blindly fired by the officers all throughout Breonna's home. Didn't even give the woman a chance to get up and get dressed and leave the house so that they can do whatever searching that they claim to do. So the incident gained little national attention for weeks because nobody knew anything of it, and they probably wanted to keep the thing quiet because we already are dealing with one situation with the Ahmaud Arbery's case. And so as the country has been preoccupied with the coronavirus pandemic, Taylor's sister, Juniah Palmer, has been on social media posting pictures of her with her sister with the hashtag Justice for Bree. So to call national or maybe public attention to this case. So I'm just getting awareness for my sister and for people to know who she really was and who she is, at least when she was alive. What her name is, Palmer, 20 years old, said to Washington Post. So Palmer said that she hopes to get the message out that black women, as well as the black males, are victims of gun violence at the hand of police and self-appointed vigilantes. And so that is so true, and I agree with this young lady, because we don't get enough press coverage on the black women that are attacked by police and by people that are on the street that claim that they're trying to protect our neighborhoods, and when it goes the other way. And so it is literally just as equal, no difference. Just because it's men out there getting killed by police doesn't mean women aren't. So I'm adding that in there because we never really hear much about the outcry of black women getting killed by police. So more national attention came this week when the family hired prominent civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump. And those of you that don't know who he is, he actually was, I believe he's working on the Aubrey, or I think it's Aubrey, Ahmaud Arbery situation right now. So who is also representing Ahmaud Arbery, and I said that before reading this, who was killed in February by one of the two white males who stopped him on the street suspecting him of a neighborhood burglary. And that's the young man that was jogging, or supposedly he was jogging or walking, taking a walk, and so he was shot in the chest twice, I'm hearing. And that they sat on his videotape. A neighbor claims they videotaped it, and they sat on it for 2 months before the tapes were released. And so he's actually on that case. So we stand with the family of the young woman and demand answers. From the Louisville Police Department, Crump said in a statement, despite the tragic circumstance surrounding her death, the department has not provided any answers, as most of them don't, regarding the facts and circumstances of how this tragedy occurred, nor have they taken responsibility for her senseless killing. So Crump also believes that the fact that Taylor is a woman is another reason why the case hasn't received much attention. Thank you for saying that, because we're always talking about the males, and we're always having vigils and candlelight vigils, and we're always blasting stuff on social media about black men being killed, and then when black women get killed, you don't hear much about it. It flashes on there a couple of weeks and then it's gone. So they're killing our sisters just like they're killing the brothers as well. But for whatever reason, we have not given our sisters the same attention that we have given Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Stephen Clark, Terrence Crutcher, Alton Sterling, and Philando Castile, Eric Garner, and Laquan McDonald, Crump said. So Breonna's name should be known by everybody in America who said those other names as well, because she was in her own home doing absolutely nothing wrong. You can be sleeping in your own bed and get blasted by the police as a black female. Now listen to that one. Okay, so last fall, another black woman, believe it or not, it happens, and so Tiana Jefferson was fatally shot in Fort Worth, Texas by a police officer answering a non-emergency call about a door left open. Jefferson was babysitting her nephew at the time. The incident drew nationwide scrutiny and renewed demands for police accountability. So in a rare outcome, the officer, Aaron Dean, was indicted for murder and is awaiting trial as we speak. And this is the young lady pictured right here. I may not be pronouncing her name correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong. It says Atitiana was fatally shot by a white police officer inside her Fort Worth, Texas home. Black women, inside your own home, you can be a victim of gun violence at the hands of police officers. So I hope you guys are hearing this. If you're not, that black women are just as vulnerable as black males at getting killed by the police too. So politicians and journalists, including Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and Jamil Hill, have also taken up Taylor's cause on social media, calling for answers. Breonna Taylor's family deserves justice, Ocasio-Cortez tweeted Tuesday. And so it is so dehumanizing that Breonna's family and many others must launch public campaigns just to have victims' lives recognized and given the dignity of due process. So have any of the police been arrested or charged? Hill tweeted. I think you already know the answer to that. And we know the answer to that, don't we? Crump says that his information contradicts the claims by police that they knocked before breaking down the door to Taylor's home. So there are witnesses who are her neighbors. Nobody heard police announcing themselves, Crump said Tuesday. And so this was a botched execution of a search warrant where they had already had the person and they were searching for in custody. He was already in custody and they claimed they were searching for him, but they already had him in custody. So the family members, activists, supporters are demanding answers from the Louisville mayor, Greg Fisher, on Tuesday posted on his Facebook page that he has asked LMPD Chief Conrad for an investigation into this case. So Taylor's aunt, Bianca Austin, said her niece had dreams of becoming a nurse and buying a home with Walker. So Taylor was on the front lines during this COVID-19 pandemic as an essential worker, fighting COVID-19 before her death. And she doesn't die of COVID, she dies of gun violence at the hands of police while she's sleeping in her own bed. So she had a lot of plans, Austin said. So she said it was tragic that her niece died like that in the comfort of her own home by people who she works alongside with every single day. And so I thought I would do this article because it made me very upset, because you don't hear a lot about the black females that get killed by police officers and that get sometimes propositioned by police officers that aren't doing their job the right way. And there are things that happen to women, sometimes just as vicious, or maybe even, if not even more vicious, where they can get raped, they can get propositioned, they can have a lot of things happen to them, and they can be sleeping in their own house or in their own home and get gunned down in a botched police warrant search. Okay, so this is the article that I wanted to put out here. I don't know if anybody has heard of this or whatever. I saw it, it just caught my eye, and since I'm in the midst of reading this, the new Jim Crow, it talks a lot about these type of incidences, which is really scary, because you almost want to think that because it's in a book that this can't be true, but I know exactly what the book is talking about because I've actually seen these things happen in some neighborhoods that I've lived in, where people are minding their own business and they kick down the doors and bust down the windows and point guns at kids and old people's heads, and you could get killed, get your teeth knocked out, maybe broken bones, and they don't come back and pay for any of that stuff. And you don't hear that happening in the other neighborhoods where people got money and they got, some kind of income, and they look at the police officers as all being perfect. Not all of them are, unfortunately, and that's what I wanted to say, that these incidences do unfortunately happen. Seems like sometimes they happen more in the poorer communities. And I'm saying that, actually in a mild tone, but I would want to say things a little more harder, but I'm trying to be a little more, diplomatic here. The thing is that this was unfair. This lady had no chance, and she didn't deserve this, and many other people that have gone through this don't deserve this whatsoever. She was working on the front lines. She could have risked her life with COVID-19, but no, she goes home to go sleep in her bed, and she gets killed by this. How disrespectful. How disrespectful. And so she deserves some kind of answers and some kind of closure the family needs with the pain that they're suffering from losing a loved one like this, especially during a time such as this. So anyway, there's a video attached to it. I'm going to try to play the video. Hopefully it'll play. And then I'm going to leave this video here at the close. So thanks for listening. So I'm about to play this video. I had turned it on earlier and then I had turned it off. But I'm going to play this video so you can hear. I believe this is the sister that's in the video, and she's like really trying to give some type of message out to the public about what happened to her sister. So.
Never in a million years would I imagine us just sitting here having a memorial for our baby. They took like a big part of our life away from us, and she was a good girl. She just did not deserve what she went through, and we're gonna get justice for her because of incompetent police work. They went in her house in the comfort of her own home and just took her from us. She's gone. She's never coming back. Both their lives have been changed, her and Kenny. And we just want to thank y'all for her support. And I want y'all to know Breonna loved everybody. She loved everybody. And she is the reason why we all here. She was the glue that brought everybody together. She was the baby of the family. And for us to just have to find that strength to move on without her is just going to be so hard. And this is only the beginning. This just started. And I want Keita to know we fight for you too. You did not deserve this. And the way they portrayed y'all was just not right. And you all know Breonna. You all know our family. You know we hardworking people. We not about being out here in the streets like that. Like this should have never happened. And I just want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. I just don't know how to express just the love and just support we've had, like, from everybody. It's just been a nightmare. Like, never in a million years should we be here. And y'all just pray for our family. Pray for my sister. Like, she's gonna need it. Like, just be there. And I just want to thank y'all. And, you know, hashtag Breonna to the end. And we not stopping till Kenny out. We going all the way in. And just to let y'all know, the pressure has already been applied, and we not letting up.